Hey, and welcome back to the Girl Boss Method podcast. I'm your host, Ritu Bra. So, for today's call, we've got one of the girls, or a couple of the girls from inside the program. One's just going to be listening in, but we also have Paris here with us today, and we'll be asking her a couple of questions as we go through some of these slides. So the ladies inside the program, when they do their weekly check-ins, they'll ask for like suggestions on different topics, or maybe even like present some struggles and things like that. So I thought it would be quite good to go over this meals and hacks for office hours, because I think this can be a little bit of a gray area sometimes, because maybe you're someone that's you typically go and do the whole Tesco's meal deal at lunchtime, or you eat out at like Pret or Itsu or any of the other places. Not only are you going to save some money by prepping your own food, it's actually going to allow you to strategically plan your calorie intake, and also helps, allow for more protein, or whatever it is that you are struggling to hit in terms of your goals, which is mostly protein and fiber, if I'm honest, for most people. So I thought this would be quite a good little topic to go over. So I think we can definitely look at lots of different options, but for this one, it's going to be more about like the whole meal prepping thing and why it's important as well. So especially when we're thinking about like fat loss and muscle toning, because that's why most of us ladies are here, right? This is what we want to do. This is what we want to achieve with our fitness goals. So we all know about the 80-20 rule. So ideally, when we split that here, we're looking at 80% of nutrition and 20% from your training. So your balanced meals are going to be essential for reaching your goals. So today we're going to work on some like really simple, easy to prepare meal ideas for both work from home and the office as well. And we're going to talk about a few different options or ideas for different types of diets. So we've got obviously like vegetarian, vegans, pescatarians, omnis, and also those people that only eat white meat only. So the goal obviously is to make sure that we help you stay on track with nutritious food that aligns with your lifestyle and your busy schedule. So, again, big key to sustainable fat loss is going to be without restriction. So, we can also apply that sort of 80. If we were to break it down and we go 80-20, we can also go 80-20 on nutrition, right? When we're thinking about, balanced meals, yes, we're ticking off the protein, the fiber, the healthy fats. And yes, we want to prioritize nutrient dense food and meals that are satiating. So I think it's also important to remember that with being sort of 80% healthful, that we allow a little bit of 20% of stuff that we like, or that inherently we might believe to be cheeky, or naughty, or sweets, or treats, and that sort of thing. And that's just to help keep us, not going insane as well, because when we are aiming for that calorie deficit as well, you don't want to be in a situation or a position where things are so restrictive that you just feel like unhappy. And you know what, I've spoke to people in the past when they've been involved in like other programs and stuff, and it's been very prescriptive with telling people what to eat and how much to eat, like very, very rigidly and very specifically. I think that meal plans can help create some guidance around how to do things, but they shouldn't be the be all and end all. And I'm a big fan of flexible dieting, because I believe that it's going to allow you to hit your goals in the best possible way without shooting in the dark and looking at restrictions and etc. Okay. So we've just got another lady joining us. We have Raki. Raki, welcome. So again, yeah, when we're thinking about the things that we want to focus on, yes, protein is going to help you with muscle building and keeping you full. Your fiber is massively important as well to help with that satiety and digestion. and then also healthy fats as well to help provide long-lasting energy and support hormonal health. And I feel like I've lost my cursor somewhere. Here we go. So we are going to split this up, this call. This is going to be more about slides. We'll have a break in a moment, and we'll go and look at some stuff together on Google. But when we're thinking about like work from home stuff, or just even prepping this sort of stuff for work, it sounds like all the same sort of stuff, the boring stuff over and over again. But there are ways that we can dress it up and make it feel like a little bit more interesting as well. So you've got your typical overnight oats. So for your vegans, you can mix it with water. Sounds crazy. Something that I used to do when I used to travel for work and I didn't work for myself. I used to meal prep the entire week. Boring, right? But at the time, it was just so helpful because they were long days. And I would do the overnight oat thing and literally oats with water. And then when it came to eating it, I would then have like a little serving of protein powder and mix that in afterwards. And that was like quite helpful as well, to, just make sure that it doesn't go stodgy by the end of the day as well, or by the time you even get to work. So if this is like a late breakfast on the way to work. And then, yeah, obviously we've got the opportunity to utilize other things that we've got at home. So like your Greek yogurts, your whey protein, and, those sorts of things for your breakfast. Other things that you can do, you can meal prep and make like egg muffin stuff. So you can make egg muffins, when you've got a little bit of free time at the weekend or during the week. So you can make your eggs, spinach and cheese is usually one that people do. And then for us vegans, you've got the tofu scramble option. So again, you could just sort of buff this up with vegetables like peppers and mushrooms. And there should be a resource with how to make a vegan scramble or a scrambled tofu in the resource section. If not, please remind me if you cannot find that, and I will direct you or I'll upload that. But basically, tofu scramble is super easy. People will either use like your regular firm. I choose like a silken tofu. And with that, I will use things like black salt to give it that egginess, a teeny bit of turmeric in there, maybe some paprika. And I would add a bit of nooch as well to kind of thicken it as well. And nooch is like this stuff. It's called Paris. Have you tried nooch before?
Do you know what
nooch is?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's nutritional yeast, and it sounds disgusting, but it's got like a cheesy flavor to it, and it's kind of one of those gold standard like vegan supplement type things that you'll just add to stuff. And then obviously, yeah, you've got, quick salads. You can make sure that you've prepped some protein sources like your chicken, your salmon, chickpeas, or even pre-flavored tempeh and tofu. So Paris, we talked about this recently, but I'll show you some of those as well. So definitely remind me to show you some of those when we look on Google shortly. And again, when we're thinking about taking bits to work, wraps and pittas. Again, when we're thinking about hummus, opt for the reduced fat hummus. You'll kind of get used to it. It will just allow you to have a bit more play around with extra calories as well. Yep, chicken breasts, turkey slices with avocado. So all different things that you can do with, adding in veggies and bits, greens, etc., like that. And you've also got the mason jar salad type thing as well. So I don't know if you've seen these. They're kind of like a bit of an old thing that you'd see on like Pinterest, like years ago when you search up how to do a meal prep. And you get these like glass jars and you would just layer it with loads of things. It's almost like a Buddha bowl on the go. So again, yeah, you can do things like your quinoa, your veggies, different grains, chickpeas, eggs, chicken, etc. Whatever you stick to for your dietary choices. And then, yeah, similarly, again, like little snack boxes. So a lot of this stuff does feel like it's pretty basic. It's reminding you of the same boring stuff again and again. And it sounds crazy, but like for me, I don't eat quinoa. I think I've eaten quinoa like maybe once this year. But that would normally be the thing that people assume vegans like, but I'm not really a fan of it. I'd rather eat rice or something. So again, it's just looking at things that you inherently enjoy. So again, when we're thinking about like managing cravings and staying full, you want to make sure that you're hydrated. So we've all heard that thirst can be mistaken for hunger. So again, just make sure that you are staying on top of like drinking water in between your meals as well. And then yeah, fiber is really important. So thinking about your high fiber foods like, your lentils, your beans, leafy greens, that sort of stuff. And protein within each meal. So protein is going to help with satiety levels. It's going to help you feel satiated. That basically means keeping fuller and satisfied. And that again can help reduce cravings. And one thing that I'd love to do is actually opt for bigger, more satiating meals and having more volume. So I like to maybe even bank a bit more protein together. And one thing that I haven't talked about with this, and I was considering putting on here, was snacks. We've got a whole resource of snack ideas, other little things that you can put together. So make sure you go and have a look at that if you haven't looked at it before. But yeah, you can use, again, if you're not tracking and you're not in that phase of this program, then you can obviously look at portion sizes. Again, a palm for protein, fist for vegetables, cup for carbs, and a thumb for fats. That's your sort of generic measuring for those sorts of things. But pre-track everything either like the night before, the day before. And even if that just means like filling in the protein throughout the week, just get that in first and then just fill in the gaps later. Like for me personally, if I know that I've got like some seitan kicking around or tofu or maybe I fancy tempeh. I haven't actually had tempeh for a while. So Paris, you might like this. I used to do these little tempeh blocks. The tempeh tastes disgusting if you don't flavor it. I'll tell you that now. Either I like jerk barbecue sauce on there, which tastes amazing, and I'll stick it in the air fryer. I'm without an air fryer at the moment. Or I would do like, I'd slice up the tempeh into like little thin slices, and I would put like sriracha sauce on it, and then like vegan cheese on top. Rocky, I know you're probably laughing at this, but but it's so good. And they're literally like little mini pizza things. And that's just quite a nice little hack as well, or a nice little snack if you like. But yeah, just track everything within your diary first. And this is why I like doing the whole like meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some days you're going to have 3 meals, maybe some days you end up having 4, but also looking at it as intervals of when you're actually eating as well. I think that's quite nice to map out. So that can be helpful. Just fill in the protein first and then obviously fill the gaps in, etc. And Raki, I know you're pretty good with this right now. So yeah, lower calorie options. So if I'm honest, I don't know why we've got mashed avocado instead of butter or mayonnaise. I think lower calorie options would probably be things like butternut squash. Squashes are usually quite good instead of like potato fries, for example. But I'm just going to say, like, just go with foods that you like. That's what I'm always going to say. Batch cooking can help. Again, just chopping things up at the weekend and chucking it all together. That's going to be helpful. Making sure you've always got things on hand. Portioning it up. I've done that in the past. If you are out at work, 3-4 days in a row, then sometimes even just doing 2 or 3 days of portioning things out can help, especially if you just like to be prepared. And then big thing here is slow cookers and air fryers. Like air fryers, I need to buy one. I gave mine away but definitely need to invest in air fryer. It's just going to help you reduce the amount of calories you end up cooking with, because for example, with tofu, especially if it's like pure firm tofu, you've pressed the water out, and typically you would like stir fry this in the pan. You'll add oil to the pan. I think I mentioned this recently. I did that recently, and you end up just overspilling on calories. So air fryers are brilliant, and air fry tofu is so nice. Literally, I just cube it up and chuck it in the air fryer, and it's crisped over and it's done. Salt and chili, it's perfect. Or just cover it in your favorite seasoning, or add it to a curry, or whatever it is that you're making for dinner. And then, yeah, just prepping things in advance. So, Ali, that is, yes, Raki.
Just a quick question.
Oh,
When
yeah,
you're doing, sorry,
that's all
um,
right.
just a quick question. When you're doing things like lentils or curries and things like that, how do you tend to MFP that or track that? Like if you're making a batch load,
Yeah.
say a curry, or you're making lentils, or you're making something with multiple, do you just kind of, I don't know, it's really difficult if you're making it for the family. Do you then
Dry.
MFP track the dry,
Yeah.
all the dry foods?
Definitely the dry with lentils for sure. And then you're just going to have to
But
guesstimate.
then when you,
So again, if you've depending on how much you might use for, if you, I don't know, do you eyeball it when you make like a dal?
well, I mean, I don't tend to make that stuff because it's so hard to then put, like
Divvy up.
when you batch cooked it, or when I'm eating it, if say for example I've got some dal from my mum, for example,
Yeah.
how do you MFP how much then it's going to be cooked weight?
It
But
is,
then
and you can actually just find like cooked other people have put in MyFitnessPal, or maybe
so
even find out how much all it, you know, even if you make, can you make dal yourself?
no.
Neither can I.
I've really got
I'm just
I've really
yeah.
got a taste for it at the moment, and I just really
Oh
want.
yeah. Definitely just maybe we need to get a recipe. I know that one of the girls has got a good recipe. If we get a recipe in there, I think Alice, she will make things like lentils and maybe even
The thing is, if you're
Naima.
what thing you're confused about is if you're tracking how much you've put in as a dried amount or
Yes.
uncooked amount,
Yes.
then once it's cooked and you portion it out.
Yeah. So let's just say, for example, you make, I'm just going to go for like 100 grams. I mean, that's hardly anything when it comes to lentils. But let's say you put 500 grams in,
Yeah.
and the three of you are having it. Now, typically, your husband might have a little bit more, maybe.
He won't eat it,
He
but
won't
me
eat
and the
it.
little one will.
So it'd
And
just be
that's
you and
the
the little
thing.
one, and maybe you end up getting 3 servings out of it.
How do
Again,
you, that's what I mean. It's like, how do you know when it comes up? You just take a couple of spoonfuls, right? Or
you're just
however
gonna have
many.
to eyeball it. So you would just eyeball and go, and I know it sounds crazy, and it would be nice to like specifically measure it out, and you can do that. But
You
again,
just put a cup of,
pardon?
or I just go to MFP. Normally they have like a cup of cooked dal or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then what I would probably do is maybe just kind of look at, if the fat looks pretty high, then again, it all really depends on how you're making it. How much oil are you using to do your bits at the beginning? You know, when you add your ginger and your oil and your garlic and your onions, and you do that all together, like how much of those, you know, how much oil are you using? So, I mean, if I, for example, if I went to my mum's house and she'd made dal, maybe I would literally just go, okay, maybe I've had 100 grams or like a cup, yeah, of dal, and I'll just find cooked. And then maybe I'll like add half a tablespoon of olive oil, just like an extra
Okay.
buffer, maybe, just to kind of
Okay.
make up for any discrepancies or potential whatever. that might be an option. But again, what's going to help with this is actually just going through and making it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer?
Kind of. It's just the difference between, it's just difficult, isn't it? Regardless of whether you make it yourself or you're having it from someone else.
Yeah.
Even if you make 500 grams of, say, uncooked lentils, once it's made, it's like how much it expands. You just don't know how much the whole,
You don't know how much the whole thing is, but you could
yeah,
probably go, maybe if you put it into 4 bowls, let's see how much comes out
yeah,
of that. And then maybe you
yeah.
go, oh, okay, you know what? My
I've had a
son will only
picture of
have
it.
like half a bowl. And then you go, okay, that looks like he's had 1/8 of that.
Yeah.
So again, it's like a and on My Fitness Pal, if you do add it in and you cook it and you go through and you put it all together, you can save it as a meal and then go back to it and actually
Okay,
know that
half.
you can,
Yeah,
yeah, you
that's
can
good.
do it as a fraction or you can do it as
Yeah.
like a decimal point. So
Yeah.
yeah, like either a third or like 0.33 or something
Yeah,
of
fair
the
enough.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'll try it that way.
Yeah. I'm sorry I don't have a direct
No, no,
specific
no, that's okay.
answer,
That gives
but
me a
yeah,
better
it
idea.
definitely, I would definitely go through and cook it. And maybe, yeah, maybe one of these days I'll when I decide to start cooking more, I just cook for one. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything's always just very much quick on the go. And that's the thing. Yeah. If I go to my mum's, I'll create some flexibility around having that and yeah, find what looks right on My Fitness Pal and then just add maybe a little bit of oil.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all
Thank
we can.
you.
Yeah, no worries. But you're gonna make some dal this week now and you're gonna let us know
I'm
how you
really
get
craving
on with that. Yeah.
it.
What's your favorite type? Yellow.
Yeah, recently I have. I just haven't had any Indian food in so long that I'm just
Oh,
craving it at the moment.
I love a yellow dal, and I get the feeling I'm going to be asking my mum to make me some of that this
Yeah,
weekend. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank
amazing.
you.
No worries, no worries. So yeah, once we get to that point, then yeah, we can do freezer friendly. You can freeze it, etc. So when we're thinking again of vegan and vegetarian protein foods, again, it's the same stuff, repetitive. But I don't know if you have tried any of the bean pastas yet, Paris.
I have. I'm not gonna lie.
You
I'm not
you
a
don't like
fan.
you don't like them. Uh, yeah, maybe it's the way that you're cooking them. So maybe we need to have a look at
Possibly.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, they just had it just the texture was just very, I don't know,
soft.
like very like no, mine was really hard.
Maybe you're not cooking it enough.
We cooked it for about 20 minutes and it was
You're
still really
kidding
hard.
me. Was
It
it
was
like a
still
big batch that you made or?
no. We
Oh,
made enough for like a family of three.
yeah. You'll
So
have to
it
show
wasn't
me
like
which one.
loads, but it was just really odd. I don't know.
Hmm. You'll have to
Because I
show me
tried to
which brand
make,
that is. Do you know
yeah,
where you
I
got it
tried,
from?
I think Lidl.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Was it Explore maybe or
I'm not sure. It was a
Little branded?
n yeah, it was. Oh, I'm trying to think what the actual what it was actually made of. Um um. Oh my God, I can't remember what it was made of now.
We can definitely have a look at some of this stuff
Yeah.
like on Google in a moment. So we're gonna go through and search a few things together. But just to kind of finish off the slides, um, yeah, again, it's all your typical meal protein options. And then yeah, just make sure that you're staying hydrated. And when we are thinking about like snacks, still make sure that you track them. So like even again with almonds, it's so easy to like overestimate how much you're having. So again, tracking is massively key. And again, when we're thinking about having that long-term success, you want to make sure that you're not like restricting, as that's the thing that I think some people think that they have to do is try not to eat. basically. But I think if you track, you'll find that you've got the flexibility to make it work. Yeah. Another thing that I did a while back, and it sounds crazy, but I think I actually did it. I think I've mentioned this before, but I did it in lockdown. I literally did the whole mindful chewing situation with one of my meals, and I can't tell you how full I felt after. So if you know what mastication is, it's basically just chewing your food down to nothing. But the enzymes that you're going to release from chewing is going to be the stuff that helps you. It's helps you feel fuller for longer. So it's just one of those things about with mindful eating, not being distracted. So if you're doing things like watching telly, having conversations in between, scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, etc., just try and do nothing and literally connect with your food. And I guarantee that you'll start to feel those hunger and fullness cues for sure. Yeah. Have you ever tried that before, either Raki or Paris?
Yeah, I have. It does seem to work. It's just,
Time, right? When you haven't got time, when you're trying to cram it in, for
I
sure.
also just enjoy eating in front of watching TV.
Yeah.
Humans, you can't stop natural, I don't know, instincts, if you like. Yeah. Again, multitasking. Right. So yeah, the key thing is look, focus on, your balanced meals. You want to make sure that you're considering protein, your fiber, again, not trying to go like fat free or anything. Meal prep and plan, that's going to help you save time and stay on track. And it's those small, consistent changes that are going to lead to long-term success, not the sort of stop and start stuff. So we are going to end this here and we're going to have a break. And then what I will probably suggest is, we're going to go through Google together. So for those of you that have just stumbled across this episode, this has been the Girl Boss Method podcast. And we'll see you here next time.